Welcome back to MSI 2015, where it's time for our 6th game of the day as Fnatic takes on Besiktas. And this is a really important one here. Let's look at Fnatic first. This is big because TSM still has an opportunity to make it into into the playoffs, as well as Besiktas if they win this game.
I feel like Fnatic at this point should just be going really confident and comfortable in this match. They had a really great showing against SKT. I think
they had the best showing that anybody's had against SKT. They have the best showing.
And I think that going into Besiktas, where you kind of know where it's going towards, I think that they are just on paper the better team, and they should know that and just don't make any troubles and go really healthy into this game.
Yeah, I also think that they're in a fantastic position because their top laner, Huni, is really stepping up, and we've talked about his importance. I've even had to revise my opinion on how good Huni is internationally. I was willing to give him the EU LCS, but he's really stepped up this tournament, been an absolute powerhouse, taking it to Myron, who in my opinion is a very solid top laner, and he's going up against Tholdren, we've already said he's a shot caller. If you can get in this guy's head and shake him up with some aggressive play, you might be able to really throw Besiktas off their game.
Well, and we talk about, or it's been joked about throughout the tournament, Besiktas could be a kaboom. Well, it's not even that. They still have a shot to make it into the semifinals. So how are they going to do that?
I'm still hoping for them to actually come out on top of this one, just because, similar to Kaboom last time, they've got nothing to lose. They didn't come here with many expectations, and I think that this could be the time to just show and really prove the whole world wrong. What I really like that we talked about before was that even in their games that don't look so convincing, they're always playing to win. That's a trait that not many teams, even at the top level, have. You don't, a lot of times the pressure gets to you and you forget, oh, what are we doing? Just kind of turtle out and don't do anything. But they always play to win, and I really like that about them. And even the game against AHQ, where Tholdren got camped on Cassiopeia, he had a huge CS lead on that Cassiopeia. I'm expecting him to hold his own against Huni.
Yeah, and Energy, I think, although he's not a monster of the mid laner, he is a really, really good mid laner. He almost solo killed Faker at one point in the game that they played against SKT. Right? His Diana, if it gets off the ground, it's going to be extremely scary, but we haven't seen that just yet. So if Tholdren is able to get through the laning phase against Huni, and then Energy is able to take off in the mid lane, I think that's how they're going to win this game.
And I think they could maybe even pull a Unicorns of Love and go with a surprise pick. Poppy top lane, TF jungle.
I thought you were going to say pull a UOL and lose.
Well, we won some of those games, but I think this might be a really great possibility. Maybe they have something prepared that we haven't seen yet, and maybe they have just looked at other regions, how they play here, maybe have a really good level 1 strategy, and I think we saw it against SKT. It can come to fruition if you follow it up really correctly.
I think it's going to be a quick game. Whichever side wins is going to win very quick and very early.
Yeah, well, we've talked about the lanes that could potentially go even. We've said that Tholdren might be able to stand up to Huni, who's a great laner. Energy might be able to stand up to Forbidden. I actually think they might have a winning lane matchup here. The CS differential for the AD carries is 71 for Nardius and only 57 for Steelback. This guy is struggling to get over that 1 CS every couple of minutes, 5 CS every couple of minute mark. And I actually think that Dumbledore is a lot to play for that one. We've seen that Yellowstar is extremely aggressive. He flashed in for the Krug steal, and that really was punishable. So if they're able to get a similar situation, get Nardius rolling, he might turn into the surprising carry, because we're talking about a lot of the other lanes, and the AD carry role is very strong.
I think for this game, Besiktas actually has the statistics and the numbers on their side, to be honest. But for Fnatic, they do have a good performance against SKT. That kind of gets you rattled, gets you in a good mood to actually perform. Maybe not the fact that it was a kind of heartbreaking loss, but that's what both teams have going for them.
Well, they had different kind of heartbreaking loss, because you got to remember that in caveating my point about Nardius, he just came off the game with Deft, where he was absolutely crushed. So Deft really did take it to him. So they're bouncing back off different kinds of losses. Besiktas, that really crushing, just 20-minute all-out bloodbath that EDG put on, and then the very close game. And I actually think it's harder to bounce back from the close game.
I think that Besiktas also has this kind of wild card extra point where you don't know what exactly they are going to pull out. And I also feel that Besiktas, just in this position, has nothing to lose for. And that's really important. This kind of mindset, especially from us, when you are kind of the underdog, that can give you the moral boost, and this can just give you the clarity in the game.
I disagree on the point about the closer game is harder to bounce back from. Because, I mean, I'm just going to pull in some of my experience here. When you're playing against teams that are much better than you, as long as you tell yourself this team is a better team than we were close to, than the team we're going to face. Like, I'll just even go to like ranked fives. When I'm playing against challenger ranked fives and I'm not a challenger player, and then we lose to them, and it's like, well, they're better than any other team that I'm going to face in the actual tournament I'm playing in, right? So you go in with that knowing, and it's a bit of a confidence boost.
Well, I think you detach yourself from such a heartbreaking loss. You're just like, oh, okay, well, we're not at this level.
Well, and that's the thing.
When you play like such a close game, you're like we were almost there,
maybe.
there. Are we? Can we actually do it? It's like, oh, no.
Right, but it is entirely about the mentality
mindset.
of how you take it, and that's the thing. You could go one way with it and say, we should have won that lane. It's the most crushing defeat. What do we do now? Or you could take it, as Irene was saying, this is the best team that we're going to go up against, and we gave them the best run for their money out of any of the teams in this tournament. That says something about our ability to play.
And Fnatic was laughing a lot during the previous games that they were playing. They were having a lot of fun in their earlier game against EDG. Even
Smiles
though they
win
lost that.
games.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. Don't listen to crumbs, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, as Besiktas set up, though, with their survival in this tournament on the line, we'll hear what it's like to not only play as the lone representative from the seven regions worldwide, but with the weight of over a century of Turkish athletic tradition on their shoulders as well.
Bundan bir hafta önce Türkiye şampiyonuyduk. Ondan sonra 7 bölgenin de katıldığı uluslararası turnuvada, Wildcard turnuvasında birinci olduk.
Wildcard'ı kazanıp, daha doğrusu 7 bölgenin birincisi olmak gerçekten güzel bir duygu. Hani hem MSI'ye katılıyor olmak hem de bu 7 bölgeyi temsilen orada bulunmak gerçekten güzel bir duygu.
Beşiktaş gibi köklü bir spor kulübünün e-sporda önce olması gerçekten çok büyük bir şey. Bir kere çok köklü bir taraftar grubu var.
Ben çok uzun zamandır sahnede oynuyorum. Yani 2-3 yıldır zaten sahnede oynama tecrübesine alışkın bir oyuncuyum. Gerçekten ilk defa sahnede heyecanlandım. Heyecanlanmamam lazımdı ama heyecanlandım. Yani karşımızda öyle bir taraftar vardı ki sürekli beni heyecanlandırıyordu. 4000 kişinin önünde oynamak ve o 4000 kişinin Beşiktaş'ta olduğunu bilmek, bize desteklemesi gerçekten muhteşem şeylerdi.
The fans are really nice and they're really supportive and just always rooting for us. That's really nice.
So before I got to Turkey, I used to only compete in Czech Republic, and that was like really easy. There was no competition, no nothing. Now I got to Turkey and it's like better players, everything is bigger. We play in arenas and stuff. We can get to Wildcard, we can get to Worlds. And it's like really exciting to be here.
Beşiktaş Kulübü Türkiye'deki en köklü futbol kulüplerinden bir tanesi. 1903 senesinde kuruldu. Sayısızca birçok başarıya imza attı. Hatta bu kulübün çarşı adıyla bilinen bir taraftar grubu da mevcut. Hatta yurt dışında birkaç maçta desibel rekorları kırmışlığı bile var. Hani bu kulübün bir parçası olmak, bu kulüp adına oynamak gerçekten çok güzel bir duygu.
Facebook'a yazdım, hepsine baktım mesela Fanatik'in. Bir tek Fanatik'in çok beğenisi var, 1 milyon üzerinde. Mesela SK Telekom yazdım, 50 bin falan herhalde, daha fazla değil. Beşiktaş 5 milyondan fazla. Ki o da sadece Facebook'ta. Yani şu turnuva Türkiye'de olsa onlar bile korkar bence. Öyle bir taraftar kitlemiz var.
MSI'ye katılan bütün takımlar genelinde beni en çok korkutan destek oyuncusu Last Boy diyebilirim. Koridoru çok iyi kontrol ettiğini düşünüyorum. Açıkçası Last Boy'a karşı oynamak benim için gerçekten büyük bir tecrübe olacak.
Yani benim en çok severek izlediğim, idol aldığım ormancı İnsek. Çünkü İnsek'in ismini bir oyun hareketine verdiler. İnsek diye bir tabir var onun içinde. Bence bu gerçekten gurur verici bir şey. İnsek'in Lee'sin tekmesinin tadına böyle bakmak benim için güzel olacağını düşünüyorum.
3 senedir neredeyse bu camianın içindeyim, e-spor camiasının içindeyim. Bu denli heyecanlandığım, bu denli yani gerçekten elimizin ayağımızın kesildiği bir maç oynamamıştım bu Wildcard haricinde. Hani hem maçların heyecanı olsun hem arkamızdaki taraftar desteği olsun. Zaten bunun büyük bir kısmı taraftar desteğine bağlı da hani gerçekten inanılmaz bir duygu ve bunun çoğunluğu Beşiktaş ismi sayesinde olmuş durumda.
That was really intense, watching Thaldron in front of the crowd, them cheering at his cue. You hear stories about how crazy the crowd can be in Turkey from all the people that go back from the league events. And even them were saying how this fan club has broken decibel records in their cheering.
I just absolutely love the enthusiasm, and I get chills when I see Theophilus speak about. I was actually not supposed to get any kind of sweat or whatever, and it was just so nice to see, because we were in a similar position, and it's just absolutely overwhelming once you sit instead in front of such a great and loud crowd. It's really hard to contain.
I was going to say, your organization has experience with having passionate fans. And you must be able to relate to this quite well.
Yeah, I just felt, I know what position you're in and what you're playing for, and that's, I think, why they perform like they perform. They have just a lot of enthusiasm, and they show that, and that's why the games that we, in the beginning, thought, okay, this is, maybe really one-sided, they actually make it funny, they make it interesting, and I really like to see.
Well, now we're going to send it to the booth to check out the lineups, but first we'll hear from Besiktas's energy on how his lane opponent stacks up to the competition here in Florida.
I think Fabivin is in this tournament, maybe middle of the pack. He doesn't have that much international experience. He's a rookie in LCS, so he's kind of new to the scene. Even though he favors Assassins, I think it will be an interesting matchup nonetheless.
And we are back, guys. Doa Monte Cristo and Jad here. Fnatic versus Besiktas, and it's time to check out our starting lineups for our 6th match of the day. Of course, for Fnatic, on the blue side, Huni in the top lane, Rainover in the jungle, Febivin in mid lane, Steelback at AD carry, Yellow Star at support.
And of course, representing Besiktas, the winners of the International Wildcard Invitational. On the red side, we got Thaldrun in the top lane, Theocles in the jungle, Energy, who we just heard from in the mid lane, Nardas and AD carry, and of course, Dumbledoge on support.
Dumbledoge.
I'm never going to get tired of that name.
The wizard himself. And so, we talked about it. We talked about the big implications for this match. It's going to mean a lot for both of these teams with who takes it.
Yeah, normally a lot of teams tend to overlook the international wildcard team, and Europe as a region knows not to do that now. When Alliance actually ended up losing to Kaboom in last year's Worlds, it can happen, and it has happened. So Fnatic absolutely has to take this as the most serious game of them so far in this group stage.
And what's great about this group stage, too, is that both of our last games actually mean a whole hell of a lot and can determine the fact that they're going to be tiebreakers, because a lot of times in these round robins, you get to some rather meaningless matches at the end, but we're really down to the wire in this one.
Man, we really are, and we're moments away from getting into the picks and bans for this one. So going into it, we just saw Fnatic actually play a more competitive game against SK Telecom than anyone else has in this tournament. Do you think they can keep that kind of momentum going, even though they lost against a team like Besiktas, as we move into picks and bans here?
Yeah, well, they had that discussion on the analyst desk. They're going to have to use that close game with SKT as confidence against Besiktas here. And I think specifically in picks and bans, Fnatic having Sivir unlocked a lot of their team fighting, and they were able to overcome a poor laning phase from Steelback and still have impact in team fights, because Steelback ended up getting something like 9 kills in that game, despite being down 40 CS early.
It was pretty competitive. Looks like Ahri the first ban against Besiktas. Looks like Morgana the second, of course, against Dumbledoge. He's been quite good on that support all week long so far. The LeBlanc ban #1 against Fnatic. See what ban #2 for Besiktas is going to be.
As much as Dumbledoge has prioritized Morgana, I say just let him take it in the first round of the draft. I would rather get rid of Rumble and Hecarim from Thaldrun myself. I think he's a much bigger threat on some of those champions. Cassiopeia ban against Fabivin, who really made up for a rather poor initial Cassiopeia showing at this tournament with some pretty nice ults against SKT.
Yeah, and Besiktas obviously just trying to ban out that mid laner to give Energy a decent matchup at least. I would say that teams preparing their bans against Besiktas have generally just looked at what they've been most successful on or what they prioritize the most and just trying to push them off comfort a little bit. And for the most part, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Since every team who's banned against Besiktas has been victorious, the Ahri and Morgana bans seem quite logical there.
Yeah, fair point. Adding the Hecarim ban to that is Fnatic, so final ban over to Besiktas now. And we'll see what that's going to be. At this point, do you ban something like the Gnar? Huni has been so dominant on that, or do you have to target the jungle? Looks like it's going to be the Urgot taken away from Fnatic, so Kalista still available. Don't know if we're going to see Steelback try to play that one. What do you take here?
I want him to take Sivir first. I think it's the most important pick for Fnatic as a team. There's plenty of top laners that Huni would be able to play, Whether or not Thaldrun gets Rumble, that would be the other first pick I'd expect from Fnatic if they do anything.
I think SK Telecom too really did miss out on not having that Sivir in the last game. That is their preferred AD carry with that composition, and we saw how well they can do. Fnatic can play with it even if they fall behind, because Sivir's ult is just so powerful from that utility, and it couples so nicely with Huni's great teleports. But will be that Rumble taken away, so Thaldrun will not get his hands on either the Hecarim or the Rumble.
Yeah, and at this point, unless Besiktas takes Sivir in this rotation, it's going to go over to Fnatic. I feel like those were the two picks that were really being contested over in this particular matchup. So they're going to need to take at least Sivir here if they want a chance in this draft.
Well, maybe an Aurelia, the pick for Thaldrun this game. We'll see if they go ahead and lock that in. Would be a first for this tournament. The Azir. Possibly taken very early on for Energy if they lock that in. Seems a bit risky if they go through with it.
Yeah, well, we have seen this thing in 2 games. Azir was banned against Febiven, even though he never played it in the regular season. But tons of people have been prepping Azir in preparation for this tournament, including Pawn, who we just got to see in our last game.
Yeah.
And I am very surprised they did not take Sivir here.
Well, they took Lucian and Sejuani instead. 2 picks over to Fnatic now.
I'm wondering if they saw the SK Telecom game and noticed how far Lucian was able to get ahead in the laning phase of Steelback and are trying to snowball off of that. Because the matchup went very, very poorly for Steelback.
It's a good point, actually.
Yep.
We'll see if that
could definitely be it. Yeah. One way that you beat Fnatic is you just beat them within the first 5 or 10 minutes, crush them in laning phase, and Fnatic has shown they have one gear, and it's straightforward. So if they're ever behind, they just keep crashing into the opponent. I like to say if Fnatic is losing, they make sure they lose quickly, because they will fight again and again and again.
Makes sense. Well, so far Rumble Thresh hovered over. A Riven would be pretty interesting. Haven't seen that champion picked up in quite a while now. Switching it over to Rek'Sai and Thresh, yeah, seems a bit more reasonable for Fnatic. So 2 picks now over to Besiktas.
One of the most interesting facets of MSI has been that when in a lot of regions we saw the Rek'Sai fall out of popularity in terms of being the preeminent jungler. And it was more about Sejuani, it was more about Gragas a lot of the time. Here in Tallahassee, it has been all about Rek'Sai. Yeah. We've seen Clearlove switch over to Rek'Sai. Bengi was the only one who was really prioritizing Rek'Sai, I think, coming into this one.
Yeah.
Of course, TSM with Gragas most of the time as well.
I mean, if we're looking to analyze one of the reasons why that could happen, so much of the tank domination was all about the team fighting, and people, in my opinion, got a little bit lazy about the early game and the laning phase. Rek'Sai brings so much early presence, you can still preempt that Cinderhawk turning online, and Rek'Sai is one of the few champions that could cross over from the Warrior metagame to the Cinderhawk metagame and still have a huge amount of success.
And it's all about that Tremor Sense utility.
That's going to be it.
No way. It's a board for Dumbledoge. We're going to take a magical journey with Professor Dumbledoge, guys.
It's the perfect champion, really.
That's right. I would say so. Is he going to be Headmaster Dumbledoge this time, though?
Crowd giving him some love. All right.
Love for Teemo right now. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe the Kalista pickup for Steelback after all, so calling that Lucian pick and maybe avoiding the Sivir. I don't know if the Heimerdinger is going to get locked in here. We've seen, we just saw Bard get locked in, right? So who knows? Zed maybe, though, for Febiven. Yep, it'll get locked in. And Kalista taken by Steelback, not going with that Sivir.
All right, these blind pig Zed's got to stop.
Well, if we know anything about Energy, his Diana has been his champion of choice when Ahri's been taken away from him. The Sivir for Steelback, it's something he has played in the European LCS playoffs, but it was very underwhelming, and it's something that he has to do well in the laning phase with, especially against Gnar Sejuani. You can throw all the spears in the world into Sejuani and still not be effective, especially when they're going to bring shields like this. So, that SK Telecom game, Lucian shielded up by the Lulu.
It looks like they're going for the exact, or nearly, I should say, very similar competition.
Two of the same champions.
Two of the same champions, but the same,
so nearly identical.
the same strategic principle. In this case, you want a lane swap. If you can get rolling with that Bard, though, in terms of creating a pick composition right here with a lot of speed, I mean, the Bard allows you to move your entire team through terrain to create picks.
Very true.
So could actually be quite exciting to watch if they can catch somebody alone, but that's going to require some pretty good warding.
I've got a feeling this is going to be a pretty intense game. We'll put it that way. Fnatic, though, wonder how they feel facing this Bard. Lustboy wasn't quite able to get a lot done with it, aside from helping Sion run unimpeded through team fights. Nicely done there.
Round 2 for Bard. I have a little bit of faith in Dumbledoge's Bard right here. I hope they're picking it for the lane swapping strategy right here, and they're actually going to use some roaming situations with it, something Lustboy did not do. I also like the Lulu into the blind pick Zed. That is an incredibly favorable matchup for the Lulu, especially in team fights.
Yeah, you really have a lot of flexibility in terms of where that death mark gets used.
And here we go, guys. Moments away from getting into game number 6. Fnatic versus Besiktas here at the mid-season Invitational. And I gotta say, I love these lineups. I love these comps. This game is going to be insane. Coach is shaking hands, and we are ready, guys, to move on to Summoner's Rift. You guys know what to do. Tweet out LOL Esports with the hashtag FNC win or BJK win, and we'll see which team you think is going to take it. It's time. I was just stalling so I could say welcome to Summoner's Rift, guys. Here we go. Fnatic versus Besiktas. It is time. Right?
To scream into the camera.
That's right. I promise.
Brilliant.
Time soon. Here we go. Now it's time. Our stage is beautiful, by the way. There we go. Now it is time to get on the Rift.
Yes, it is.
Nailed it. Is that a TSM?
It's BJK.
Oh, BJK. I was going to say.
Three-letter chants through a headset of noise dulling is easy to confuse with TSM, but Dumbledoge has tipped the scales in their favor as far as a fan support perspective.
Now, he is starting with Spell Thief's Edge, which makes more sense if he's going to stay in lane. You know, Lustboy starting with that cloth armor, but then not really roaming on his Bard. If you're going to stay in lane, this is probably what you want to pick up. Oh boy. Here comes Bard. And a little bit of damage. Flay on Denardius. A lot of damage. Getting the tether on that Q. Landed the first Q. I still think it's good luck.
15 gold.
That's true.
He got all of his Spell Thief's Edge procs out just like that.
The money.
Honestly, you can get 2 of those off just with an auto attack from Bard because you're proccing the Meep as well, which counts for a Spell Thief's Edge. So it's actually, if you're going to lane, works in a pretty good set of circumstances, but they still... I would hope to see a lot of roaming from Dumbledoge still.
I hope so too. I mean, he did get some really nice buffs over the last 2 patches. He's in a pretty good state right now. The issue is that you really need to have practiced with this champion as a team. It's not something that you can just spend a while in solo queue and then take it in. Looks like Fnatic wants some Roast Rek'Sai to start this game with.
Looks like they're not going to be backing out of the 2v2. Yellowstar and Steelback starting on the Krugs. They can take them both or just the little one.
Looks like they'll grab
both of them.
Ooh, Dumbledoge. Dumbledoge trying to make a difference here. Getting the auto attack damage in, poking Yellowstar a lot. Wow, they may steal this.
They're going
here. Is he going to get it? He got it! Dumbledoge gets the ancient Krug.
And because he can get experience from picking up the meeps around the map.
Yeah, the chimes.
The chimes around the map.
He's already level 2.
He gets level 2 straight off that. Doesn't even have to burn his flash either in order to secure the Krugs.
We awarded 10 points to Dumbledoge earlier this week. I think that's worth at least like 15 to 25 right there.
60 gold coins to Dumbledoge.
60 gold to Dumbledoge. Wow, look at the harass, man.
Well, he's got the early level 2. I mean, the harass there from the late invade. Fnatic needed to abandon that as soon as they saw him because they knew they couldn't burst it down.
Yeah, and he's playing this really well. You leave the W back in lane for your carry to pick up after it sort of matures. I don't know. Is that what you call it?
It's like a fine wine that you leave for your AD carry, Noah.
That's right.
Just put it in the old wine cellar.
Yep.
For a few years.
It ages well. No, 2015 was a very good year for Bard Ws. Dumbledoge still with that position. Got to be careful, though. Taking some spears now from Steelback. But all in all,
he's level 3.
He is.
already hitting 3 before Steelback and Yellowstar even hit level 2.
Crazy. Wow, a lot of action in this top lane. Thaldrin getting really low. Huni, there's a flash. Not quite used from Thaldrin, getting kind of low, but just barely deciding not to use that summoner. Close call.
This has been the great advantage of Fnatic in their games, has been Huni's ability to bully people 1v1, and Reignover going real aggressive.
Yeah, no kidding. Theocles taking a lot of damage here. It's a close one, but Theocles has to go on the run. Again, no summoners used for either side, but it was close. Whoa, Febiven coming down. Everybody just deciding the river is the place to be right now. Trying to come down to support their junglers, but in the end, Febiven getting a positive trade there.
Still going potentially for a gank on the mid lane here.
Maybe. We'll see if Reignover can pull this off. There we go. Febiven coming in. A lot of damage onto Energy. Ignite was used. Energy trying to make it out. He still has that flash. Still has his own Ignite. He's in a lot of trouble though. Nice tricky flash. Dodges a Razor Shurikens. Oh, the Prey Seeker does connect, but it looks like Energy may escape. Reignover still threatening. Here comes Thaldrin. Can they save him? Energy in a lot of trouble. Your first blood taken by Reignover. Oh, the double kill for Rek'Sai. A good start for Fnatic.
Yeah, right off the red buff there, actually. Yeah. Looks like for that double kill, but great follow coming up from Febiven. And they're able to pick up both kills in that lane. Huni flashing to get the Flame Spitter damage down.
A little bit of damage onto Nardius there in the bot lane.
Reignover's Rek'Sai has been a highlight in all of Fnatic's games. Even in the European LCS playoffs, it was what carried some of their games.
Yeah.
I think it was just a nice Prey Seeker there right at the end, as well as the red buff, which ticked him down under the turret for the double kill. That's going to be really necessary because he has to help out this bottom lane. It's amazing the amount of presence that this Besiktas bottom lane has, keeping those health packs behind him and not even needing them.
Yeah, and I mean, as those kind of stack up too, you have the ability to trade really aggressively and then just walk back and heal, and you get a little bit of a speed boost too. So if any ganks happen, you can escape even easier. I think that's, you know, people talk a lot about Bard's weak laning phase, and he is weaker than some of the other supports we see a lot, but his laning phase honestly isn't that bad if you know how to play him.
It's also Steelback and Yellowstar who have been having a pretty horrendous tournament in terms of laning phase. So
shutting one down,
sorry, I am the hype killer, but
appreciate it, buddy.
Duh. With the buffs to Bard, he does have a decent laning phase in some matchups. I don't think Kalista Thresh is the matchup for it.
Not normally, but I'll give that one to you. That's true.
Yeah. And especially if you get that early experience edge, he was level 2 long before the lane started. So it's the way they've been able to get that early pressure.
Theocles coming down here, maybe. Thinking about a bit of a dive. Oh, I don't think he was spotted. Not yet. Oh, now they see him. Well, you're committed now. Theocles coming in. Yellowstar just flaying him away. Steelback starting to load on the auto attacks. Reignover getting brought in, or not Reignover, Reignover getting brought in rather. Fnatic pushing. Besiktas back. Oh, Dumbledoge. No, he's getting so low. The Rend may just do it. Oh, he picks up the heal. Meanwhile, action up there. Theocles getting low. Dumbledoge manages to stay alive for now. Can he do it? Oh, the spear coming out of nowhere. He was sniped. Snipe killed Dumbledoge.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
You had
Spoiler alert,
You've been waiting so long.
Sorry. Spoiler alert.
Reignover is just asserting his dominance right now in this game. He already has his warrior completed, and he's just chasing them down.
Yeah, Nardius in big trouble there. Forces the flash, or flash force. Meanwhile, Thaldrin dies up in top lane as Febiven roamed up for that one. Nardius just going to go ahead and recall now. Out of the danger for the moment, but Fnatic taking a pretty big lead. It's 7 minutes, already 2K gold ahead.
Fnatic secures their spot in the bracket stage with a win here against Besiktas. If they can take this advantage into a win. Reignover, he had that warrior, I think, 6 minutes into the game because of his early double kill. He is absolutely trying to take over, but he has stayed a very long time.
They pinned Reignover to the wall here.
This is the end.
Yeah, is it? Reignover getting a little bit low. Energy misses that Q. Looks like it'll be enough. There we go. So Energy, you know, helps Dumbledoge pick up the kill.
Sometimes you don't want to be in the enemy tri-brush when they're coming back from lane by yourself, but
sometimes you do, but if you do, you got to accept that you're probably going to get killed immediately.
This is the gank we missed off in the top lane. Febiven was up there, but it was mostly ceremonial. I feel like Huni had him for the most part.
Oh boy, Deathmark comes down. Wild Growth from Energy, though, should prevent most of the damage, and it will, as will the shield. All the mana gone from Energy now, though, so probably going to need to go back pretty soon. And there's our fan vote results here. 57% for Fnatic, but a lot of faith in Besiktas. Nope. Thaldrun, though, getting cooked a bit, about to become Meganar, and Huni again has just been such a bully up in this top lane. Look at that. And no summoner right now for Thaldrun. He's going to ult Huni against the wall. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of stunning. Huni has to back away. Whoa, the building lands. It's getting close. Thaldrun, you know, he's a little bit worried about the jungler coming in, I suppose. Did he really have any wards to get home? No, he just was a little bit too worried.
Yeah, he had a ward right there at the blue buff. They're pinging him now, but there was a possibility that maybe he could have been coming through the river. But Thaldrun, with the equalizer down, actually did, I think, have a kill shot right there.
I think so, too. Backs away, though.
Also, there's been some deep wards by Fnatic, so they should have knowledge that Theocles could be waiting in that brush.
Well,
this would be a bit of an aggressive bait by Huni, because if he gets stunned up, he's dead.
Yeah, there's the ult onto Huni. Thaldrun coming in to add the damage. Theocles picks up that kill. And Rainover doesn't quite get close enough. That was a bit awkward.
I'm not sure you even needed to use Sejuani ult right there.
Nope.
Well, they wanted to make sure they killed him quickly because his equalizer was going to come back up, and they knew Rainover was in the area.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. That's a good point. Meanwhile, CS leads in mid and bottom and top for Fnatic. Just across the board, a little bit higher. Dumbledoge still harassing, gets flayed in. Nardius comes down. Whoa. Hey, Rek'Sai.
He's teleporting it on the sentry.
Oh, and nice. Oh, tempered fate on the teleporting. Huni didn't end up saving. Dumbledoge couldn't get to his magical journey tunnel. Meanwhile, Nardius has to try to avoid that equalizer, but he's going to get dove under turret anyway. A kill for Huni yet again. And Fnatic already starting to run away from this one a little bit. It was a nice idea, the Bard ult on the Rumble as he comes in, but with so many people nearby, you're just not going to get away.
Textbook Fnatic play right there. Huni using his teleport in the bottom lane. The tweak here was that it was a Callista Sentinel that had wandered into the brush that gave him the flank position for that teleport.
Yep.
Super cool synergy right there, and they're able to pick up the kills and the dragon.
Yeah, with the Rek'Sai tunnels and the Sentinels on Fnatic, it really actually does make quite a few good teleport targets for Huni, and a lot of flexibility in terms of his positioning with this particular composition.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Pretty crazy stuff. You can take out wards, but it's hard to catch every single Sentinel. Well, Dumbledoge and the rest of BJK coming in to try to get a little bit of vision back. Hi. Trying to take the red buff, I see. Rainover smites to get a little bit of health back. Theocles harassing, and there's a magical journey to get Dumbledoge perhaps out of danger. Ooh, I don't know. Huni coming down. Dumbledoge may be in a little bit of trouble, getting cooked a bit by that flame spitter, but he'll be able to make it out just fine.
Also notice Fnatic is in the midst of a lane swap right now. They're switching their mid and their top laner because Thaldrun stacked so much magic resistance. He was getting bullied by Huni's Rumble. Febiven's already going up there to go against him. He can easily chunk down Mininar if he gets a good ultimate off with the Zed top lane.
Good lane swap by Fnatic.
It's also extra scary because of the warrior enchant onto Rek'Sai as well. So if Rek'Sai comes up there, there's almost nothing that Thaldrun's going to be able to do in order to deal with this double AD situation.
That's a good point. Febiven waiting, lurking in the brush. And meanwhile, whoa, BJK hiding in a brush for some reason. Nice play from Yellowstar. A lot of trouble. Tempered Fate locks some people up. Huni coming in with that equalizer. A couple kills already for Fnatic as Dumbledoge and Theocles try to escape. Flash from Steelback, gonna pick up one kill, and he wants the double. Theocles in a lot of trouble. Steelback picks up the double on Callista.
Nearly an ace because the Zed had soloed out Thaldrun in the top lane as well.
Right.
A trap gone horribly wrong there for BJK. No way they should have been waiting in that brush.
Well, it's not only that, but the skill shots were highly inaccurate, and there seemed to be no conversation about whether Theocles or Dumbledoge was going to ult first, so they kind of awkwardly ulted sort of at the same time, and then the focus just wasn't there onto Rainover afterwards.
It's one of those bars situations where you just kind of shrug and press R, and you're like, well, hopefully it hits right, people. But unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that time. A turret taken down by Fnatic now. 10-2 in kills. Pretty massive gold lead already in this game. It's just 12 minutes. This could be a quick one. Let's take a look at that replay of what happened up in top lane. Febiven versus Thaldrun.
That is a Hex Drinker, Null Magic Mantle, and Boots on the Gnar right there.
Yep.
No way he's surviving through a Zed all in like that.
Certainly not. Oh, mid turret getting pretty low here. Would be locked down, but I don't think Fnatic is going to take too long to take out that mid turret. Dumbledoge doing what he can. But that's not much right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, nearly a 6,000 gold lead for Fnatic, already 13 minutes in. This is the game they love to play. Get an early game advantage. Warrior on Enchantment on Reignover, really showing you what he plans to do on this game is just kill people relentlessly. Huni has been living on the mid and bottom side of the map. He's not really a top laner outside of the first few minutes of the game. They are a roaming kill squad, and they've been doing just that.
Oh, BJK putting a little bit of pressure onto this mid lane. They might get the turret. Oh, Reignover coming in from behind, forcing that flash from energy right away. Double Doge lures him away with the magical journey. Everybody loves to take the magical journey, so we'll all chase Double Doge. Nice hook onto Thaldrin there, playing him against the wall. Meanwhile, Double Doge will ult himself to stay alive for just a few more seconds before Steelback kills him. Oh, that equalizer! That was a fantastic ultimate from Huni. Wow, and what a rout from Fnatic. Really doesn't get much easier than that, does it?
The perfect clump of enemy champions, and Huni lays it right over top of him. Steelback as well, 4-0-6. Really able to clean up some kills when Reignover gets those ganks, and they get the ace anyway.
Yeah.
Great patience from Huni on that ultimate, too. Waiting throughout all of that so the Bard couldn't ult everything down, and then hitting him with the perfect equalizer.
Yeah, and I really got to question that ult from Double Doge as well, too. I mean, ulting yourself there really doesn't do a whole lot, whereas you can get it onto a few members of the enemy team. It might work out. Ooh, Febiven getting a little bit low there, trapped under turret. Trying to finish hard. Can he do it? Oh, flayed away. Oh, no, and Steelback gets the kill. He just wanted one kill. Can't you give Double Doge that? Well, actually, no. Double Doge killed Faker this tournament. What more does he want? Never mind. He's satisfied with what you've got, Double Doge. I'd be happy with that.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished indeed. Well, Theocles says, these are my Krugs. Reignover disagrees.
I like how Reignover is now moving into Hex Drinker himself.
Why not?
Just maximizing his damage at this point. They want to keep scrapping.
Yeah.
And he's confident that his little bit of a level advantage and the backup from his team will allow them to explode targets in a pretty efficient manner. And yeah, as for Double Doge's ult, he could have ulted into the choke and then turned on to Callista on the backside of that team. Considering they were all together right there, may have been a little bit more effective.
Well, generally in a situation like that, you just try to ult the enemy team to let yourself get away, you know, or if you want to fight it, just get a couple of them on the side to make it just like a 3v4 for a moment or 2v4 for a moment.
That's one of the interesting ways that Bard, I think, is going to be shaping League of Legends moving forward, because it's very hard to flank or do pincer movements against a Bard team, because it makes it really easy just to cut half the team out immediately.
Well, the great thing about Bard is that when you know how a team is going to engage the fight, you can say, all right, I can see this coming. I'm going to choose which part of their engage I don't want to deal with. And so when you slow that down, you throw off the timing and you can kind of turn the team fights around in a big way.
Yeah, I definitely don't think this is the representation of what Bard brings to a competitive match. But
I think you're right, yes.
You're so gentle in your phrasing, Chad.
I will agree that Bard does have a future on the competitive scene. He has tons of strengths that are applicable. This is just Fnatic snowballing on an opponent really hard.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's crazy how night and day this Fnatic team really is. They either get crushed or they are doing the crushing. And that SKT game was them kind of on their game early on, and SKT doing everything in their power to hang around and eventually turn it around at the end. But Besiktas has done nothing to keep the goal close in this one, and it's looking really grim.
Oh yeah, 10,000 gold ahead. It's 17 minutes for Fnatic. It really doesn't get too much more stompy than that, does it?
And Fnatic, just coming into this tournament as well, what an impressive start for this team, just in terms of raw skill. Yeah, they're not the most refined strategically in terms of their map movement.
Right.
But this is a team that has 3 rookies.
Reignover. Oh, worst jungler ever. Oh, no.
This is a team that has had 3 rookies and is still looking like they're going to make it into the playoffs here at a major international event. Won the season.
Yeah.
So I think that moving forward for Fnatic, I think they're really only going to get better.
Yeah, there's so much potential on this team.
Yeah,
the way they're able to snowball games with leads is telling enough. The way Huni has that aggression gear, it's all about throwing depth into their game as far as they're looking for the next step. Picking up more new champions. The Cassiopeia was a beautiful thing that they could add at the start of this event. If we are to believe the bans from the opponent, Febiven's Azir as well is another great thing they can show. And mainly being able to stick around in close games and win those, because the thing that they're great at is what's got them this far. It's playing the mid game extremely well, strong laning phase, and great ganks bottom lane from Huni.
Oh, they're certainly doing that as they push ever closer to Besiktas's base. Not a lot that the red side can do at this point, aside from maybe hope for a team fight. I mean, the thing with Bard is if a team fight happens, you can split off half of them at the beginning of it. If you have enough burst, which you certainly can with Illusion, if you can blow half of them up, maybe you can even win a fight, but I'm being pretty generous there.
You split off half the team at this point, the other half will kill you.
It's quite possible.
With that
Yeah, I think that
11,000 gold lead.
Yeah.
gold lead at sub 20 minutes here means that a 3v5 is definitely possible for
It's what
Fnatic.
Bard to win a game, guys. That's so wrong.
You'll get it, Doa.
It's the wrong Bard.
Give it time. It will happen.
I just believe in Double Doge.
You just need patience, just like Huni had with his equalizer in the mid-game team fight.
Exactly.
Just wait for the right moment.
What a great analogy that was. I will always remember that. Well, for now, I mean, Fnatic can just kind of take it easy. Just sort of control the jungle, wait for objectives to come back up. They can bait that Baron that's coming up in 30 seconds as much as they want.
Yeah, they just got to play it mostly safe. They know they win this. They're through to the bracket stage. All they need is this second win in the group stage. They're in complete control of this game. And for once, Fnatic is actually letting off the gas pedal, if only temporarily.
Yeah.
Well, with Baron coming up so soon and the fact that they have that top side control, they have a really good opportunity, especially with this Kalista early on, to go end the Blade of the Ruined King already on Zed as well, to do a pretty quick 20-minute Baron, or just get a pick in the jungle first. So
yeah,
they're set up quite good right now. And Baron is live, so we may see an attempt right after these minion waves are pushed out.
Yeah, we'll see. Dumbledore's still wandering about, collecting those chimes. Got the Ionian Boots of Lucidity as well for the cooldown reduction, which as you move across the map, you get those chimes. You can really make up for a lot of the speed you lose when you don't buy the movement speed boots. So works out pretty well. Good items, although he needs more AP. Good start. Well, Besiktas trying to defend this tier 2 tower in top lane.
Fnatic really just needs to bait the Baron right now.
Yeah.
They don't have to get any more towers. Their comp is not good at sieging.
That was
Swing and a miss.
An interesting decision.
Yeah, there's also the chance that if Besiktas actually tries to contest that outer turret, this is the trap turret right now when you're trying to hold this one. One shot on the turret and you lose the entire shield for your team.
Yeah.
And the retreat path is completely gone. But it is, in fact, the Baron bait with Kalista secure. If they want it, which is what BJK has to respect right now. Here comes the fight.
Whoa, Equalizer really did a good job in that quote. Dumbledore trying to get out with that magical journey. Looks like Lucian already low. Yeah, they'll take out Nardius very quickly. There goes Energy as well. 2 kills for Fnatic. They don't need any more. They might be able to kill Thaldron here, but more importantly, they can turn and take this Baron anytime they want.
Yeah, just go on to the Baron right now. Yeah. Don't worry about anything else. Steal back, having to walk the long way around right here.
The lantern, man.
Where is the lantern?
I bet Rainover took the lantern. Fucking jerk. Use the tunnel.
That's definitely
Achilles.
Oh, Febiven comes back. Oh, man.
There's the lantern.
Wow.
That's a Fed Zed.
That is a Fed Zed.
Febiven making the blind pick Zed work in this one, but mainly because of the swap once they got away from the Lulu. All the magic resist stacking that Thaldron did made it easy pickings for Febiven to just kill him again and again.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Thaldron right now, too, he still doesn't have any armor. So he's still not in any better position against his Zed than he was earlier.
And also, Energy's build, he just picked up his first major AP item in the Zonias. He actually went Arm Guard into Sheen, so really not a lot of damage there to work with. Maw of Malmortius finished onto Rainover.
Because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not get Maw of Malmortius? That's a good buy on this situation. Dumbledoge lurking. Oh.
Looks like Fnatic is going to try and set up any type of flank possible. Besiktas has to get back to their base immediately. There will be Baron minions pushing up in 3 lanes potentially. Fnatic's strong enough that they can actually do a 1-3-1, which could quickly end the game for them if they get any type of kill.
Wow, there's the Equalizer going down.
Don't run all over it.
He's walking right down it. It's not a red carpet, man. That thing will kill you. Jeez. Oh, kill on Thaldron as well. Fnatic, yeah, Febiven, sure. He's like, yeah, I can't get through that bait skate. Thanks, man. Now I'll kill your carry. Oh, Tempered Fate says yes. says, yes, it will. It will kill your carry. Diakolis trying to help out Rainover, taking a lot of damage from the turret. Oh, barely survives. Looks like, meanwhile, more action in the base. Huni pops that Zonius for the moment, just to wait for the rest of his teammates to show up. There is the ace, and that will be an inhibitor turret and an inhibitor taken out by Fnatic. Well, it's going pretty well for Fnatic, huh?
It's going fantastically for Fnatic as far as trying to get momentum going into tomorrow. This would clinch them at the 4th seed in the playoffs, meaning they will play the 1st seed. And at this point, they're just going to have to figure out who they play.
Yeah. I would imagine it's probably going to be SKT.
Most likely. There is also the chance that if AHQ beats SKT, they force a 3-way tie for first place. That's going to be potentially our last game of the day if SKT wins.
If SKT wins, they kind of lock it up. And there we go. Yeah, see, we were telling the truth. AHQ versus SKT coming up after this one. Fnatic bulldozing their way through more turrets as Besiktas tries to hold on for dear life. Oh, Rainover over the wall. And there we go. Why not just make it complete? Take out that last inhibitor turret. Take out that last inhibitor. Maybe a desperation fight incoming for Besiktas. Looks like Energy is just going to try to solo the dragon. In the meantime, I don't know if that dragon sack's going to help you a whole lot at this point.
I don't think Huni's going to let him.
No, I don't think he's going to let him either. There goes the inhibitor. And now Fnatic is ready to end it. Rainover already taking that down. And Huni's like, no, man, you can't have this dragon.
Small victories! Small victories!
He got it! He got the dragon. Huni's like, there's your one dragon, fine, there you go. And Fnatic.
Oh, big ult, actually.
Big ult, a lot of damage onto Fnatic here, but Steelback remains relatively untouched, still autoing away onto Thaldrin, who still doesn't have a lot of armor. Equalizer in the fountain right now, healing? I don't think so. Tempered Faith blocks some people up. Oh, this may be the moment. Yellow Star getting in trouble. Meanwhile, the Nexus getting taken out. There it goes, and Fnatic secures themselves a spot in the playoffs. GG.
And with that as well, we know our two teams that aren't going to be in the playoffs here. It is Besiktas and TSM.
That's right.
And quite an accomplishment for Fnatic to make it into the semifinals of this tournament. Many people have counted them out early on, saying they wouldn't be able to take down TSM. They were no match for a national competition. They'd be picked apart. Yet they played a very tight game against SKT, who is their likely opponent tomorrow in the semifinals if things hold to patterns so far in the group stage.
Oh, that's really exciting too. I mean, again, really making it tough for SKT in that match. If they play them in a best of 5, they're going to have another chance to take a win.
My question is, we did see SKT play a little bit fast and loose on some of their invades and sort of play Fnatic style of game. And my concern is that does Fnatic have another way of playing League of Legends? Because their emphasis on kind of saving Steelback by Huni teleporting into the bottom lane is a readable condition. And if you can avoid those ganks and just play conservatively, I think you can get the best of Fnatic when they play overly aggressive.
That's right. And so to take a closer look at Fnatic's win there, let's check in with Dash at the desk.
Thank you, Doa. Now, with that victory, we do have our final 4 teams locked in for the semifinals tomorrow. Let's take a look at the standings just to recap the remaining possibilities. Currently, SKT remains at the top of the table, but if AHQ beats them in our next game, that would create a 3-way tie for first. And since no team owns the head-to-head over the other 2, that would mean 2 extra games, gentlemen. And I bet you're all happy to hear that. Bonus games is right.
I don't like the term tiebreaker. I like bonus games.
Yeah, it makes it sound like a win for everyone. No one's being forced to play a game. Because I'm sure SKT would like to avoid the bonus games.
But we'd all like to watch the bonus games.
Exactly. Well, let's look at that then, because this is very interesting. When you look at the 3 teams that would be in that tiebreaker, EDG, SKT, and AHQ, 2 of them were expected to be there. 1 of them was not. And so I really do want to take a look at AHQ and their performance throughout this tournament so far.
I'm really liking what they're doing so far, and they've been very vocal about just wanting to prove to the world that they are good, and they have done it here. I think they're going to bring their A game when they play SKT, and to be honest, with the performance that SKT showed against Fnatic, showing those early game weaknesses and how Fnatic exploited them, I think they can take a note from the Fnatic book, put it into theirs, and perhaps come out on top.
Yeah, I think Mountain has had a phenomenal series, a phenomenal tournament so far, because he was a guy who wasn't really stepping up back in the LMS, and then it was like, whoa, where's this guy coming from? And he's really good right now, and he synergizes really well and gets everybody ahead. So I think, once again, the Rek'Sai on him, Rek'Sai on every jungler here who has early game pressure is crazy. But this is a team that's not afraid to take risks, and that's catching a lot of people off guard. And I want to see this matchup versus SKT, because they're a team who doesn't take a whole lot of risk without the vision.
And I'm sure you're happy, Spawn, by the idea that EDG could leave the group stages in first.
Yeah, theoretical possibility still on the table that EDG comes out first. But I actually think that SKT benefit the most if they drop this game. The reason why is because SKT don't give much away when they play. So everyone has seen how SKT play. They play a very controlled style of game. I think that AHQ have the least to give away because they're kind of bursting through these games and catching people off guard. The more they play, the more they keep doing that. Some of that surprise goes out the windows. Maybe we can track a trend because a couple of the other teams, SKT, we know that Lulu is now something that you really have to look at. How Lulu gets through so much, I have absolutely no idea, but maybe that is something that we can look at there.
Yeah, you can just ban so much, and SKT is just so strong, especially when Faker is playing. So you have to leave something open, but maybe another approach is leave the Lulu not open for Faker because he seems to perform extremely strong.
I'd rather have him on Lulu, to be honest. If you've seen him one-shot people on this year, just put him on something that's not going to demolish your team.
I think you can like leave open the LeBlanc, and if you win, it would be League of Legends history.
Well, we do have to get through that next matchup first, but for now, we're going to send it down to the floor where Shox is standing by with our newest semifinalists.
Thank you very much, Dash. I'm joined here by Rainover and Huni after making it into the playoffs here at MSI. Now, I don't want to take anything away from the fact that you guys did make it into the playoffs as a new team, but first I want to get your vision kind of on why you think that you guys went so up and down the last couple of days in your games.
Yesterday and today, there was like some sloppy games. Like we give EDG and HQ like really lots of points in early game. Like usually our weakness was early game, and then like we make some mistakes, like burning our flashes in level 1, like these things. So like we were not used to like those camps and those aggressive early games, because like especially Chinese teams, they play really aggressive, and then we learned so much about like their early game aggressive plays. So yeah.
Yeah. Huni?
What? 그러니까 하면서 경기력이 좀 많이 올라갔다 내렸다 했는데 그 이유가 뭐냐 생각해요?
I think we are a new team, except Yellow Star, so we have not enough like experience. So when we playing winning game, we getting exciting, and then we lose focus, and then we miscommunicate. It's pretty much. So I think it's really need experience. I think so.
Yeah, so learning a lot so far. How has it been in general, getting to play against some of the best teams in the world and maybe interacting with them and talking to them and meeting some of those players?
We were so happy that we could play such big teams, really good teams, and we learned so much things. I feel like I learned so much things by playing MSI, and I'm really happy, and yep.
Huni, was there someone you were very happy to meet here at MSI?
Of course, I'm really happy for I keep my experience, my courage, and then I first time experience about playing for international tournaments. It will be really cool, and then it was until here it's really good.
Really good experience so far. Well, the people love you over here too. Final question though, great experience and all, but it's not over yet. You have made it into playoffs. That does mean that you will be playing or AHQ or SKT or EDG, which haven't been your best matches. So do you think you can bridge the gap until tomorrow, or is it too early for you as a new team?
First time we play playoffs, like best of 5. Like we were really like they didn't have confidence because everyone was like first time, but like by doing the ULCS, we played 2 best of 5, and then we both go 5th game. So I think we have a little bit experience. on best of 5, and I'm pretty confident in best of 5 more than like this best of 1. So I think whoever team, like maybe we can make some surprise.
Make some surprise. Huni, what do you think?
Of course, I think so too. We can be like make me for fans, and we can make surprise, and that I hope so that I will be like winner this tournament.
You hope you win the whole thing. Well, congratulations, you made it in the playoffs. We have to take a short break, but we'll be right back with our regular scheduled matches as SKT takes on AHQ for a spot at the seeding for the playoffs. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Still threatening. Here comes Saldrin. Can they save him? Energy in a lot of trouble. Your first blood taken by Rainover. Flash from Steelback. Going to pick up 1 kill, and he wants the double. Theocles in a lot of trouble. Steelback. Oh, that equalizer. That was a fantastic ultimate from Huni. Wow, and what a rout.
Oh no.
Fnatic secures themselves a spot in the playoffs. GG.